I'm not gonna demolish this movie. I'm just gonna hurt it really, really bad. So, Suicide Squad. Oh, boy. I have a lot to talk about with this movie. This movie was not good. This is the third entry into the DC Cinematic Universe, and they really dropped the ball here. Now, a lot of people have been giving it horrible reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic, and just in general, all the reviews have been pretty friggin' bad. I feel like a lot of the reviews have not gotten to the core of this film's problems, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be getting really in there, really getting into the nitty gritty and just dissecting this freaking thing. This film was directed by David Ayer years ago, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. When this film was first announced, I immediately was thinking, no, this is already going to be bad, because it's David Ayer. As a filmmaker, David Ayer is not the worst person you could have possibly picked, but this movie definitely falls prey to the Ayer effect. So with David Ayer, he usually makes like one really solid movie and then one really garbage movie. So for example, he wrote Training Day, and then immediately he goes around and he writes The Fast and the Furious, the first one. It's just a remake of Point Break. Then he goes on to make Street Kings. Most people find that movie to be garbage. I like it because it's so schlocky and stupid and cheesy. Then he makes End of Watch, which is arguably one of the best cop movies in the past decade and a half. Then he goes on to make Sabotage, which is one of the worst Arnold Schwarzenegger movies in 30 years. Then he goes on, he makes Fury, which is a great World War II movie that is highly accurate in its depiction of World War II in general. Yes, it's a bombastic movie, but it feels realistic in a lot of ways. Then, of course, we move on to Suicide Squad. So, of course, it falls curse to this David Ayer effect. There's something about that guy that can just, where he cannot make two solid movies in a row. So let's get to the meat of this, all right? I'm sorry, but I am just going to go ahead and just get into some spoilers. So if you want to go see this movie still, go for it. This is not the review for you. I'm really sorry. I don't think people should be paying $11 for this shit, and we vote with our wallets. I want my money back. DC is fucking up our wallet vote right now. They're going to burst this comic book bubble. I promise you. They're going to burst the comic book bubble, and we're all screwed. Thanks, DC. Immediately, this movie starts out, it doesn't know what it wants to be. It tries to cultivate this like Guardians of the Galaxy type vibe, but really it's not funny, and it's not as dark as it also wants to be. As a movie, it just exists. Right off the bat, the editing is so inconsistent. You start out, you got Harley Quinn and Deadshot in prison, and then it's just showing them dealing with the guards, and the guards are assholes. Then it cuts to Amanda Waller talking to these random guys that clearly have something to do with the DOD or something like that. She goes and runs down through all the Suicide Squad and why she wants to start Task Force X. First question, this early in the DC Cinematic Universe, why tackle this? This does not make any sense. This is way too early to be doing this. Marvel, when they made Guardians of the Galaxy and they made Avengers, they had leeway. They had established characters. They had established the universe that the movies were set in, and they were able to take those chances. Here, DC just goes, fuck it, we'll just throw whatever, just throw it and hope it sticks. Why does Amanda Waller go to... Why does she directly go to let's make the Suicide Squad? Especially when she has a docket of all the metahumans in the DC universe that they've discovered so far, apparently. She freaking knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Sorry, that's the first spoiler right there. She knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. They hint at it in the post-credits scene. So you're telling me she can't go to Batman, and she can't go to The Flash or Aquaman or Wonder Woman knowing that shit might go down in the future? If the government is looking out for our best interest, wouldn't they go to the people that they feel like they might be able to trust over some people that are literally criminals. Then they try to explain like, oh, well, you know, human nature and blah, blah, blah. It's such a stretch to even get there. So anyway, she's running down the list through the entire Suicide Squad. It's so inconsistent because like off to the side, there's like a little infographic that tells you who they are and then like, you know, their stats, like what their powers are. And that would be pretty cool if it just was consistent. Every single time they go into a new scene, it's just a different font, different layout of the text. Just, it's all over the place. Doesn't say all the same things. For Harley Quinn, it just says like Joker's little angel and that's fucking it. It doesn't have any coherence, you know? And that shit really bothers me. So immediately, I was like, no, not cool with that. You know, we only get like a glimpse or two of Batman or Flash, you know, capturing the villains. But then some of the villains, like Killer Croc, he doesn't even get his own moment to shine. It's just like, okay, well, these cops are attacking him. Well, how did he get captured? How did half the other people on the team get captured? You don't fucking know. Another thing you'll immediately notice that's just really bad is the use of licensed music here. They were trying so hard. They tried so hard to establish some type of nostalgia here. They just are just slamming tracks in your face left and right. Here's Eminem. Here's Rolling Stones. Here's Queen. Fucking constantly. Like, just give me some breathing space. Just give me 2 fucking minutes to get into the movie before you throw 7 songs at me, okay? It's distracting. It doesn't work. It becomes a grating thing in the background because they want to distract you from the fucking shoddy storytelling that's going on here. The first hour is dedicated to learning who the Suicide Squad are, learning what Task Force X is, learning what the mission is, then learning more about the Suicide Squad, and just going back and forth. Lame. I get it. Once you set up the characters, it should have taken maybe 15 minutes to set up the characters tops. And then you reveal a little bit more about them as the story goes on. But it's just, you're just fucking bombarded by a wave of stupid crap. I really don't care about any of these characters' backgrounds. I just want to see them kick some ass and then learn about them as they're kicking ass, as they're developing this bond, so that they become a team and we are endeared to them in that way because they're villains. It's some real simple shit. They did it perfectly in Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy, they're also villains. Guess what? They're also villains in Guardians of the Galaxy. They're fucking thieves and murderers. And guess what? Everybody loves the Guardians of the Galaxy because they know what the fuck they are and they embrace it, and then we learn more about them as the story goes on. They become more sympathetic to us instead of just some fucking fuck puppets for us to watch as they go on some stupid mission that they don't even care about. At the very end of the movie, where we finally get to deal with the bad guy, obviously, there's always the final showdown. The villain is Enchantress. There's another spoil for you. It's not the Joker. It's not anybody that you would find recognizable. It's the Enchantress. And, you know, that's fine. I get it. I get that because they're targeting this big blockbuster audience, they need to have something that is visually stunning. A boots-on-the-ground approach would have been way more interesting than the way they decided to approach the Enchantress. The Enchantress is basically Zool from Ghostbusters. You remember Zool, right? There is no Dana, only Zool. That shit. And she's doing this weird, like, dancing shit like this for like 30 minutes at the end. She says she's building a machine, but then she says it's a spell and she can't decide what it is. And she's like, "You will die, mortals. Oh, join me or die." Which gets into the other thing, that she's also Scarlet Witch all of a sudden. They don't establish this until the last 30 minutes. But apparently she has the power to manipulate people's minds. Oh, wow, great. So we get some stupid little dream sequences inside each and every one of the Suicide Squad characters' heads. So Deadshot gets to shoot Batman and then live with his daughter. And Harley Quinn gets to go and start a family with the Joker and two twins. And then Diablo, you know, the fire guy from the trailers, he doesn't kill his family. And then he realizes, wait a minute, I totally did kill my family. This is all bullshit. And so he's like, no! And then he runs out there and he attacks Enchantress and her brother, who's also a villain. And then he turns into this gigantic flaming fire monster and beats the shit out of the brother. And then a bomb goes off. And then they kill Enchantress, but they keep her host alive because her host, blah, blah. It doesn't fucking matter. It was just handled so sloppily. That ending was dumb. Granted, the whole movie is dumb, but the ending was especially dumb. David Ayer talks about how there's a bar scene in the film, and that is his bread and butter scene. That is where he hits his stride and the movie works perfectly, and you know, the scene really shows who he is as a filmmaker. Well, if that fucking bar scene was who you are as a filmmaker, then man, you need to go back to school. It was really weak. It was another exposition dump where you actually have your characters interacting for the first time in a 2-hour movie. Oh, God. In the bar scene, they all show up there and start getting drunk, and then they finally start talking to each other. The only characters that had any real interaction before this scene is Harley Quinn and Deadshot. Of course they're the only ones that have any interaction, because they're the two main characters. I just don't understand why, if you're gonna do a team movie, if you're sitting there saying that, oh, this bar scene and this banter, that's my deal, that's what I live in, that's what I live for. Why isn't the entire movie like that? If we're learning more about the characters and their motivations and how they interact with each other, should that not be a part of the entire movie? Should that not be baked into the DNA instead of shoehorned into this stupid fucking bar scene? And it only, you know, it's only there to boost the tragic origin of Diablo, so that when he goes into the end, his sacrifice is more poignant. But it isn't. It really isn't, because this movie is also racist. It's a racist film. You know, Diablo is just a one-note gangbanger character, except for his backstory. The way they handled him was offensive. The way they handled Killer Croc was especially offensive. Killer Croc has 5 lines in this movie, okay? One is something along the lines of, oh yeah, I'm beautiful and I know it, motherfucker. Something like that. Another one is, damn, shawty. Another one is, I like her. And then, you know, there's one I couldn't understand because of his horrible voice. And then the last one is, oh, I want BET in my cell. That's another problem with the ending. Amanda Waller gives the Suicide Squad each a wish at the end of the movie. It basically becomes a Wizard of Oz, and she goes, all right, well, I can't let you go, but what do you want? And everybody says what they want, and Killer Croc goes, I want fucking BET. Get it? Because he's black. That's so funny, right? Movie's sexist, too. Yeah. It's super sexist as well. 90% of Harley Quinn's shots are just of her ass or tits or, you know, her saying something highly sexual. The Joker treats her as property. He's basically a clown pimp. And yet, they don't even delve into the abusiveness of their relationship. It's fucked up. They romanticize Harley and Joker, even though he deliberately tries to kill her throughout the movie. He tortures her with shock treatment therapy. He's manipulative. He's abusive. And yet all we see is that Harley's so in love with him. Everything is just set up as a convenience now, because apparently that's too dark. Apparently we're going to add this relationship into the movie, but we want to play it up for the fucking tweens. No, we cannot allow young people to romanticize abusive relationships like that. It's not okay. And I think that it was highly irresponsible for fucking DC to do this in a movie. This movie was not the time to introduce Harley and the Joker at all. At all. They needed to establish Batman a little bit more. Batman needs his own solo film first. Jared Leto really stomped on Heath Ledger's legacy with this one. I find that a little bit offensive as well, with his stupid hip-hop clown pimp bullshit with his stupid grills and his rings and his damage tattoo on his forehead. And he's always doing this. He got his teeth out like this. And then he's got a tattoo on his hand and he goes like this. And there's a Joker smile on his hand. Man, everything else in this movie is, I guess it's serviceable. I guess that's the only thing that I could say. It's not good, but it's also not bad. I mean, it's technically a sound movie. Aside from the editing, the cinematography is fine. The costume design was pretty interesting. I thought they did a good job there and made it feel like they actually had real costumes that they had been using for a long time. Sound design was alright, but I just, it doesn't matter when the rest of the movie is just horrible. There's no real main character. There's not really a plot. It's just a plotting mess. It's just all over the place. Did not realize I was going to get this heated. You know what? Whatever. I can't even talk anymore about the merits of this movie. There's nothing good in it. Suicide Squad gets a 4 out of 10. Screw this movie. Okay? It's bad. Don't go see it. Hey guys. Sorry for breaking rule number 1, but you know how it goes sometimes. Rules were meant to be broken, right? Anyway, here's your pros and cons, and a couple other videos here that I hope you might like. If you liked the video, hit like. If you really liked it, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.